Hi guys, my name is Victoria Redbud and I'm the director of Yoni Elixir, and I founded a school in 2019 called the Institute of New Paradigm Intimacy, where I trained over 100 practitioners in my modality, the self-pleasure modality. I wanted to chat to you today about how I'm going to be creating a bit of a little sex party for a group of friends tomorrow. And here's some of the things that I'm going to be considering when I am pulling together a group of people and introducing them to Eros and sexual energy. So last year I joined a bit of a friendship group that is largely in like performing arts and meeting of the moment, and their passion is very much around improv and connecting. And sometimes when I'm around people like this, I always forget that sexuality is not the main, that they haven't done a lot of work on their sexuality because they're so expressed. I forget about that part. And so one of the things that I've been doing is actually creating a bit of a space to integrate this energy in for people and have them recognize the innocence and recognize that this can also be a part of meeting in the moment, trusting truth to lead the way, and connecting in the most intimate way possible. And the way that I talk about doing sex parties or meeting in erotic spaces is actually something I usually refer to as like a temple. And a temple for me is just like a space where people can meet and use the current of Eros inside of their body to meet with other beings. And the way that looks like is less of like, okay, I decide from my mind that I want to have sex with somebody else. I'm more in this space of just like, okay, what is driving me? Can I drop into the truest essence inside of my body, activate my sexual energy, and trust that that is actually driving my being towards wherever I need to go for my evolution? So it's less like I want to hook up with this person, or I would like to build a relationship with this person. And this deeper trusting that your Eros, this life force energy in your body, actually has a direction that it can take you in. And if you let go of societal ideas of what does it mean if I hook up with this person, what is the status of this person, will this person benefit my life in many ways, financially or popularity or any of these other things, and actually just track that other layer of where am I actually being driven to, you can actually start to find a meeting point. So when there are a group of people that find this meeting point, and they have like different connections inside of this temple space that is created, what starts to happen is like the two bodies that meet, they come into an authenticity, and an authenticity of what that Eros is actually bringing towards them. So sometimes when erotic energy or Eros is moving between two beings, the answer is not always to have penetrative sex or to stimulate the genitals. It can be just to breathe. It can be just to move the erotic energy together. So it's like two bodies that are just next to one another, just allowing the erotic energy to move through their bodies. And really, like the beauty of this practice is not so much that that sex happens or needs are met or anything like that. It is kind of beyond that space of needs getting met, and it really lives in a space of recognizing the truest capacity of the human being, and how different sexual energies and different erotic energies inside of beings actually bring out different parts of us. And this is a real deep practice of what the temple arts means to me, is that you actually start to open up the capacity to be in the full range of who you are as a human being. And when you can open up that capacity to be all of you, then you get to do more of what you want to do in the world. So create the business that you want to create, or do the creative project that's been calling you for a long time, or become a mother, or become whoever it is that you're supposed to be in this life. Like whatever's blocking you from becoming your full potential of who you are lives inside of finding more range inside of your identity. So our conditioning in this lifetime, it takes us through this capacity to start to be somebody that the external world can understand. And that can leave us in a very two-dimensional vision or idea of who we are, when really we have the capacity to be everything. And what it really takes to become the fullness and the full potential of who we are is to let go of the ideas of who we think we need to be for everybody else. And this is what's created, and this is why I'm so passionate about bringing my friends together in this way. So some of the things that I'm considering when we go into this space tomorrow, and this created temple space that we're going to be journeying together, is just like, what are people going to wear? And something that I've asked people to do is just connect into their sensuality and dress whatever they feel will make them feel sensual. And notice that it's not about looking sexy. It's actually about connecting to your senses. So I take the idea of like needing to wear lingerie or be somebody. They can totally do that if they feel in their body, if they feel they're connected to their senses by wearing lingerie, then that's welcome too. And the same thing is with how I want them to connect when we get here. It's just going to be like a sitting around inside of a circle, and then having a conversation about what are we feeling in this moment, what is alive in our everyday, and what do we need to let go of to let more life force energy, to let more eros come through the body right now. And just being seen and witnessed inside of that experience allows for people to become more of them to be here right now. The more present people can be, the more awareness they can have, the more arousal and eros is actually able to move through the body. So that's one of the beginning practices. The second practice, after people have come and they've spoken, they've said words, they've revealed themselves, they've been vulnerable, will be to connect into their own body. So we do this by a bit of like a group self-pleasure practice. So the self-pleasure practice is not one of watching each other or getting off on each other. It's actually one of just connecting into the body and being with what's alive. And the difference between a self-pleasure practice and a masturbation practice is masturbation is find something to be stimulated by, touch the body in a way that is gonna create like orgasm, arousal, or pleasure. And it's like letting go of that and letting go of the idea that we even need to take our clothes off or do any of those things, and just coming into the body and breathing, being with where the body's at right now, noticing any thoughts, letting go of those thoughts, coming into the emotions, the senses, the feelings in the body, and then allowing them to express with sound, breath, movement, touch. And when we breathe and connect in this way, there's a slow opening to that erotic current, that eros that actually wants to open into the body. And then at some point during a self-pleasure practice, whether you take your clothes off or not, or whenever you stimulate your genitals or not, something will start to shift. And what happens is that in the everyday life, we're kind of going around meeting the world with our mind. What do I need to do now? What needs to happen next? And then when we come into the eros body, what starts to happen is that the senses start to lead the way. And so then we are drawn with our senses to feel and guide and intuitively come out of ourselves to connect with others. So there'll be a place where this sort of self-pleasure is owned and experienced. And once there's been a connection to the self, usually this will go on for like 30 to 40 minutes, just connecting into the selves, breathing, making sound, being with the body. Then we would invite this possibility for eros to be met. So you're tuning in, you're connected to eros in your body. Everybody in the group now is moving from this sensory place. And then when you feel this electricity or like this like sense of, oh yeah, I think it's going to be me, one person will come forward and they'll either just express their erotic energy for the group to witness. This is incredibly healing for the person experiencing it. It's also very healing and educational for the people witnessing. So what happens when people are witnessing people inside of their self-pleasure practice is they're learning about new pathways of sensuality, new pathways of erotic energy and how it can move in the body. And this can never be taught to us through our minds. This has to actually be witnessed through our bodies. And something happens when the nervous system meets another nervous system that's regulated, that feels safe, is that they're able to actually expand and feel more of what's going on in their body and experience more of their erotic energy coming online. So it might be there on their own in the middle of the circle just being witnessed, or it might be one person comes into the circle and then somebody else on the outside feels really drawn to be in the circle with them. So they'll come in and they'll just really slowly again drop into, they feel the adrenaline or the excitement or the repulsion or whatever else is there between them and this other body, and then they're going to drop in a little layer deeper, breathe, and then feel themselves again, and then allow the erotic energy to actually pull them towards one another and explore what's there. And this is not again, it's not about hooking up, it's not about like having a particularly erotic experience, but it's letting the sensory body, the eros, connect and speak with one another. So it's like a different place that the communication is happening from. Like there's a communication we can do from the mind where we get really excited about ideas and like concepts together, and then there's another place where the bodies can meet, where it's just like there's a exploration of the beingness. What does it happen if I'm being in the companionship with you in erotic energy, and how do you feel in response to that? And then there's this opening to like, okay, does they want to become touch? Is there an attunement? Is there a pulling of, oh, this person's drawing my hands to touch their heart, or drawing my hands to touch their breasts or their genitals or whatever that is. And again, it's just tracking that attunement to be able to feel and know what is right. And again, the beauty of this practice is that everybody has a relationship to their own boundaries and consent, and they're choosing to connect into their erotic energy before anyone else is. So if they have to lose connection to their erotic energy before coming into connection with another, they would just say no to that. But if they feel charged up and feel more erotic energy by coming into that touch connection with the other, then that's a sign to actually move into that connection and open and see what is exploring there. Alrighty, I'm going to do another video on transpersonal relationships and aspects of consciousness when they come together inside of erotic experiences like that. But that'll be a completion on what's happening in this temple erotic experience I'm going to create for a group of my friends tomorrow. Once we've completed that practice of just like different constellations of people coming into the circle and meeting in erotic energy, we would close the circle up and once there's a sense of completion, and then open the evening up for more explorations to happen, but in a less witnessed way. So it would just be little groups of people cycling off into their own constellations of in little groups to explore whatever else wants to be felt, seen, known inside of where Eros is taking them. All right, thanks so much for watching. See you soon.